December 23rd, 1974. Seminary South Shopping Center in Fort Worth, Texas. Three girls, Rachel, Renee, and Julie, pile into a 1969 Oldsmobile and promise to be home by late afternoon. 2 days before Christmas. They needed bows, perfume, maybe a pair of jeans. It was ordinary, practiced, done 100 times. By nightfall, the Oldsmobile sits locked in the lot with bags and receipts inside. Evidence of their errands and shopping being completed. But the girls, they're gone. On Christmas Eve, a letter arrives, postmarked Fort Worth, signed with one name, Rachel. It says the girls needed a break, that they'd gone to Houston, that no one should worry. But the people who love them most never believed it. And almost 50 years later, no one can prove them wrong. This is the Midnight Mystery Archive, and this is our look at the case of the Fort Worth Trio. "17-year-old Rachel Trlica is the driver, just married, still checking the new ring by reflex. 14-year-old Renee Wilson is the enthusiastic middle, list in hand, Christmas energy to burn. 9-year-old Julie Ann Moseley is the neighbor and the last-minute add-on. Ask my mom if I can go, I'll be good. The plan is simple. Make Seminary South their hub, pop into a few stores, be home by late afternoon. They leave a little after midday. Multiple witnesses will later place the Olds near the Sears side of the complex, the practical end of the lot. Receipts will confirm small purchases, wrapping and gifts that fit the season. No emergency, no broken schedule, nothing alarming in the moment. The timeline holds its shape until the sun is low and the calls home start to stack up. After dark, family members find the 1969 Oldsmobile back in the lot. The doors are locked. The bags and bows sit inside like placeholders. There's no smashed glass, no obvious signs of a fight. A car put back where it belongs can feel like reassurance. Here, it feels like misdirection. Fort Worth officers begin the basics, lane by lane with flashlights, a quick canvass of storefronts and security. The mall is a maze, outside-facing doors, loading bays, cut-through corridors. If something happened between a mall door and that Oldsmobile, it left only the kind of clues that are easy to miss when you don't yet know what you're looking at. Some of the details that stick: shopping bags sitting inside, not dumped. There were small, ordinary buys consistent with the time of year, and nothing in the vehicle shouted panic. It's a tableau that reads like an intermission. Life paused mid-errand. On Christmas Eve, a letter arrives at the Trlica home. The text is brief. The girls have decided to take a quick trip to Houston. They'll be back in about a week. Please don't worry. It's signed Rachel, first name only. The postmark is Fort Worth, not Houston. The handwriting looks older than 17. More adult cursive, slanted, and quick. The phrasing is off in places. There's an odd turn that family members say doesn't sound like the girl they know. And the timing compounds the strangeness. Mailed locally, delivered the next day, neatly intercepting the moment when a missing person alarm would have crescendoed. What do you do with a letter like that? Law enforcement can't verify authorship. It's the kind of single artifact that splits the room. To some, it's cover, designed to buy time and send worried parents chasing the wrong highway. To others, it's a breadcrumb that points to real travel plans that were just interrupted. The letter will be read and reread for decades. Its language, its stroke weight, pressure marks that might reveal a practice run underneath. If you've ever been in a case file, you know this feeling. One page that wants to behave like a key, but fits no lock. Witness accounts scatter with the year. A woman reports seeing the girls talking to a man near a van. An ordinary conversation, not obviously tense. Another remembers a heated exchange by the driver's door. Someone recalls a man watching from a few cars down. We do what the file does. Separate stable from drift. What is stable? The Oldsmobile was returned to a plausible spot. Purchases match the plan. Nothing suggests the girls left town in the Oldsmobile. The drift? Descriptions of a van vary. Color, make, whether it had back windows. The face attached to the conversation has never been agreed upon with any confidence. Memory is a camera with a slow stutter. You get light and color and a sense of proximity. The face is a blur you try to fill in later. Investigators did the right thing. Pulled threads on each account, looked for matches to known offenders, cross-checked mall employees and security. It built a picture full of almosts. Open the person's interviewed section and you see the map you'd expect. Family members, boyfriends, recent acquaintances, mall staff, security, and men reported near the girls in the lot. Some were quickly cleared by time-stamped alibis. Some were looked at more than once as tips circled back with new color. A few became quiet, reoccurring names. Not formal suspects, but the kind of gravitational bodies cases accumulate. A former co-worker who'd shown interest in one of the older girls, Rachel, was interviewed more than once. A mall area employee with inconsistent recollections was reviewed and re-reviewed. A local man with a van who fit parts of the witness chatter drew attention, then fell short of the weight it would take to charge. And then there are the late arriving names. Confessions from prison that never survived contact with geography. People who claim to have driven the girls to Houston, but can't anchor the story to receipts or routes. Serial offenders proposed long after the fact, plugged into the timeline by podcast rather than police reports. If you're waiting for me to name a villain, I won't. Not because there weren't people worth a hard look, there were, but because none have ever matched evidence to the legal line. That's not hedging. That's the difference between suspicion and a charge sheet. Let's put the working theories in order and treat them like gears. Turn each and see what catches. The runaway self-directed trip theory. The letter begs for this read. We're in Houston, don't worry. But the car is still in the lot with wrapped purchases inside in Fort Worth. The youngest kid is 9. It's 2 days before Christmas. If this is a planned getaway, you expect fresh luggage, not bows and receipts. And if they truly left under their own steam, transport has to materialize. Bus tickets, a ride from a known party, something that leaves a trace, and the file never shows it. Another theory is lured by someone they knew. The age spread matters here. 17, 14, and 9. The older two protective, the youngest trusting. A familiar face in the lot could move the trio in a way a stranger could not. Come help carry something. Come say hi to someone you know. This scenario explains the lack of visible panic and the locked car. You lock up when you mean to come right back. What it needs is a mechanism with weight, a name tied to time and place, and the record never nails it. Another theory is stranger abduction. This asks for speed, access, and luck. A van door that slides fast, an approach that suppresses screams, a moment when the lot is briefly blind. Stranger abductions of multiple victims are extremely rare, but not impossible. The counterweight is risk. 3 witnesses in one go, and a locked car that suggests a step between the store and the vehicle. If this happened, it likely began as a non-threatening encounter that pivoted. The other theory? Staged return of the car and letter as cover. What if the car was not just left but returned, parked where it would be found, while the girls were already elsewhere? That hypothesis treats the letter as part of the staging, a document mailed locally to buy a week. It explains the calm car and postmark, but requires a suspect with planning, mobility, and some knowledge of postal timing. It also asks why no second communication ever followed when the first worked. Staging is work. Staged stories usually keep going. No theory fully closes. That's why this case lives where it does, in the overlap of plausible mechanics and a total lack of anchoring proof. Next, we'll look at some of the artifacts related to the case. The letter. If retained, the envelope and stamp carry trace evidence. In 1974, you didn't have the sensitivity you have now. Today, a lab can sometimes pull partial touch DNA from the stamp's back or the flap's adhesive. Even a mixture has some truth. Male-female ratios, kinship exclusions, elimination of known handlers. Hyperspectral imaging can lift pressure marks, the imprint left by hard writing on a soft pad that might reveal practice text. The lot. The mall is rebranded, but site plans survive. Photogrammetry can reconstruct sightlines. Could a person standing by the van be seen from where a witness was? Would headlights from a given lane blind you at dusk? It sounds abstract, but it isn't. These are the differences between a memory dismissed and a memory given weight. The retail paper. Some 1970s vendor ledgers survive on microfilm. A solid receipt chain tightens a clock, which tightens the window for every theory. The narrower the window, the fewer people can fit through it. So what, based on what we know now, could potentially move this case file forward? Document forensics on the letter. Things like high-resolution scans, hyperspectral imaging, ESDA-type impression analysis for indented writing, adhesive and paper sourcing. Attempt modern touch DNA from the stamp and flap with elimination samples from known handlers. Potentially a parking lot reconstruction. Obtain the original site drawings. Rebuild the lane geometry. Compare modern lighting simulations to test whether each witness vantage could see what's claimed. Timeline compression. Audit every receipt, bag, and price tag. Cross-reference with any surviving store ledgers. Align against daylight and mall announcement schedules to shrink the abduction and approach window. Re-interviews. For living witnesses, use open-ended reinstatement of context rather than leading prompts. Capture contradictions as signals, not disqualifiers. Persons of interest review. Rescreen recurring names with today's databases for vehicles, jobs, out-of-state offenses, and death records. Request familial DNA comparisons if trace evidence from the letter exists. Public release. A clean, time-stamped movement map and the exact language of the letter, no commentary. So the public is working the right puzzle, not a rumor. Bear in mind, these are not silver bullets, especially 51 years after the fact, but they are steps that can turn what if into yes and no. The Fort Worth trio left a scene that feels complete at first glance. A car, packages, a letter. But it's the space between those props that carries the case. The walk from the door to the lot. The minute between a laugh and a decision. The day between a disappearance and a note that says, "Don't worry." Although it's been 51 years, there remains even a slight bit of hope that there are answers to what happened to Rachel Trlica, Renee Wilson, and Julie Ann Moseley. This has been the Midnight Mystery Archive. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. We're on all podcast platforms. Also, find us on TikTok, where I dig more into the cases we cover here. I look forward to the next episode when we will look at the case of Max DeVries. Until next time.